All right, Wednesday, October 20th. I'm Tom Novak. This is your Bring Me the News and Novak Weather Update brought to you by All Energy Solar. They are harnessing the power of the sun to create affordable energy across the upper Midwest, the world, and they're located in St. Paul. So thank you, All Energy, for sponsoring this update. That is really interesting. Look at this is what we call the infrared satellite loop. Now we're measuring the temperature of the cloud tops, and take a look at what's happening here. Right now, over southern Minnesota, these are some thunderstorms. They are what we call elevated storms because they are located along and north of a warm front. So they're not surface based, hence the reason why there's very little, if any, severe weather activity associated with them. But to think that we've got thunderstorms in late October is pretty interesting. That just tells you the power of this storm system that continues to pinwheel now into southern Minnesota, right along the Minnesota and Iowa border. You can see it here on the moisture channel loop, the water vapor imagery from outer space. Look at the moisture that is wrapping into this storm system now from south to north is where this moisture is pinwheeling into the storm system, and then it gets thrown back to the west in what we call a deformation axis of precipitation across southern and central Minnesota. And then here you can see that thunderstorms developing over about the southern third of Minnesota into western Wisconsin. So a beautiful view from outer space on the moisture channel loop, water vapor loop. Now zooming into southern Minnesota, this is the visible imagery, and this is also pretty interesting. Look at this storm, a pretty intense one that actually pops up now here in the last couple of frames over south central Minnesota. In fact, if we take a look at the radar from Twin Cities International, you can see that thunderstorm, which with quite a bit of lightning now just east of Mankato, heading towards the I-35W corridor. And there's no doubt that these storms are just going to continue to move to the north and northeast and likely affect the Twin Cities Metro again yet late this afternoon with more shower and storm activity. So it's going to be a while yet before these storms clear out of eastern and southern Minnesota. Look at the radar over the upper Midwest as we zoom out now, and you can see the pinwheeling storm system that with a low pressure system located right over north central Iowa or near the Minnesota Iowa border. And yes, storms just north of a warm front that is near or just south of the Rochester Metro on the I-90 corridor. But a beautiful looking storm system that has developed over the upper Midwest. And you're wondering why we have a storm? Well, look at the temperatures now this afternoon. Okay, temperatures in southeastern Minnesota warmed into the lower 60s and middle 60s, so above average temperatures over southeastern Minnesota. But look at the cold, cloudy, rainy conditions over central Minnesota. You guessed it, we're separating 40s from 60s, and that means there's a warm front located right about here, and that's why we have this activity, and some of it pretty intense shower and storm activity now over southern and eastern Minnesota and western Wisconsin. Now, as we go through the night tonight, temperatures will cool down into the 40s. I'm hoping and I'm pretty confident that cloud cover is going to keep us at least relatively warm for late October standards over southeastern Minnesota and western Wisconsin. But look at what's happening up here in northwestern and northern Minnesota. These are freezing temperatures, temperatures that are dipping below the 30-degree mark. So, and that's the air mass that eventually is going to try to head south into southern Minnesota over the weekend, late this weekend. Now, highs tomorrow are not going to be very high at all. I'm expecting, for the most part, upper 40s and lower 50s, maybe into the lower 50s in the Twin Cities urban heat island, but that's about it. And then tomorrow night, that's when we have to start worrying, when we start getting into Friday morning and Saturday morning. That's when I think portions of Minnesota and Wisconsin, in fact, maybe large sections of the state, may drop to near or below the 32-degree mark, so the freezing mark, as we head into Friday and Saturday morning. So no doubt, if you want to somehow save your tender vegetation, you're going to need to cover it here as we go through the next 48 to 72 hours. Here's future radar now, and there are the storms and showers that continue to pinwheel over southern and portions of central Minnesota and western Wisconsin. Even as we get into midnight tonight, you can see we still have shower activity sticking around southern and eastern Minnesota and western Wisconsin, and it's not till early tomorrow morning that these showers fade. I think by sunrise tomorrow, which is this view right about here, I think by sunrise tomorrow we will be dry over eastern Minnesota and western Wisconsin. But until then, expect some scattered shower activity now for at least the next 6 to 9 hours. Here's your river of air, 30 to 35,000 feet. We call this the jet stream, and there's that storm system, beautifully wound up, tight storm system over southern and central Minnesota and western Wisconsin. Now, as we go into this weekend, here comes our flow now on Friday and Saturday. It is straight out of Canada, so no doubt we're going to have a much colder Canadian air mass in place here over the weekend. And it's not until we get into early next week that our flow begins to turn more of into a south and southwesterly direction. And that would mean a warm up as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, but certainly nothing like the warm weather we've had over the past couple of days. Here's your extended forecast now. There we go. Temperatures near or below average. Get that. Imagine that. Below average temperatures potentially here as we get into Friday and Saturday. And it's not until we get into Tuesday and Wednesday that we start warming to above normal levels again, with temperatures about 5 to maybe even 10 degrees above average. And I think for the most part after today, it's going to be for the most part dry through the 7-day period, except for a few lighter showers. All right, that's your forecast. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Have a great evening. We will talk to you tomorrow.